I wanted to start with, I have the blog here. I could read every word of it over and over again, and that could be a wonderful podcast right there, but we really want to hear from you. So I wanted to start with the title that you picked, which was Why Misdiagnosis Keeps Sensitive Autistic Women Lonely and How Self-Discovery Changes Everything. How did you come to choose that as the title? And what are some of the encouraging messages we could give to sensitive women in their 20s right now that are listening to you?
Yeah. So the title massively came from my experience of basically self-identifying as autistic, sensitive autistic neurotype for the past couple of years. And I have went on this whole self-discovery journey myself as someone who's very self-aware, very into journaling, mindfulness, yoga, very intuitive. I knew that it was true for me. But I'm based in the UK, and I basically got on the waiting list for a autism diagnosis assessment with the NHS. And it was an extremely long wait. It was around 10 months of waiting, and I couldn't afford a private assessment at the time. So what I did is I self-identified as autistic, started accommodating for myself as if I was autistic. And it was it was actually a very lonely journey, because when I told my family and friends, they said, "Oh, you're not autistic. Like, you're the most sociable person ever. You love a deep chat. You're such a people person, all of this." But what they couldn't see was the cost that it's always taken to maintain that mask. So I went through with this NHS assessment, and basically, long story short, they said that I wasn't autistic. I didn't meet the criteria on the DSM, and they diagnosed me as having social anxiety and trauma. So I've went through quite a lot of trauma in my life, and the assessors said my issues were due to that, and emotional dysregulation. I came away from that assessment, and because I'd been consuming all of this podcast and as well as all of Julie's content for the past 2 years, my first instinct was to get a private assessment, but not just any autism assessment. I really intuitively knew that I was like sensitive autistic neurotype, but I had so much self-doubt, and I faced so much imposter syndrome along the way, as well as doubt from externally from other people. So when I got that misdiagnosis, it was almost like I couldn't trust myself, and I felt really disconnected from myself, up until I had the assessment with Julie, all confirmed, everything's fine, in my head at least, and it's all aligned with my truth. So yeah, I think the reason I titled a blog post this is because it's extremely, extremely lonely to go through that misdiagnosis process, and also beforehand, the invalidation I think a lot of like late diagnosed women face in terms of people not understanding what the sensitive autistic neurotype looks like. And there's a lot of stereotypes and misunderstanding that in itself is extremely isolating.
Oh,